Assalamu alaikum, sabah al khair, good morning, and thank you so much for coming today. And thank you, Nuf, and all the Creative Morning team for, this is the second, right? The second gathering that we had. I love these, and I feel like they become cooler and cooler, and definitely the date cupcakes are making it like really on the top of my list so far. So, but I want to thank you all, and today we're going to be talking about what's next. We're here today to gather to look at this space in between, as Nuf said, your old life and your new one, or your next chapter. And so this is the theme for this month. It's liminal, and it's my perspective of liminal was really to look at how to build your confidence when you're going into that next chapter, and making choices that really align with your goals, and how to choose happiness every step of the way. So I want to start off by asking you, so show of hands, how many of you know exactly what path that you're taking in life? Exactly. Wow. Really? Okay. No, all right. So how many of you, again, show of hands, how many of you are unsure of what that path should be? Okay. All right. And how many of you know that you want to do something different, but you're not sure how?
Yes.
Wow, he like stuck his leg up too. Okay, all right. Guy in the, what is your name? Martez. Ahlan Martez. This guy has he has really good energy, by the way. So the thing is, you know, starting anything new, it can be absolutely terrifying. It can be exhausting, and especially with the changes in the world that we're seeing today, you know, we need to be confident about our next steps and how we want to arrive at that place that we know that we want to be. So I'd like to introduce myself. There's a lot of little tiny writing, but what it says is, 10 years ago, I came to the kingdom and I introduced the concept of social entrepreneurship. And I've trained thousands of entrepreneurs and pre-entrepreneurs to date, alhamdulillah. I am the head of my day job. I'm the head of the entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem at the Aramco Entrepreneurship Center with my colleague, Dr. Samantha over here, who leads innovation. And I'm very proud to also say that over the years, I have developed a startup that Dana right here and I are launching, and Eradica Keys, which stands for Knowledge Exchange for Youth Supporting Society. And in a little bit, we're going to share with you what we're doing to help people unlock their purpose and to develop your skills while working within our community, by learning how reflective exercises can help us to find our purpose and get us out of our liminal state and into one that we are excited and thriving. How many of us know someone who graduated in a field and ended up doing something completely different? Well, well, they're not alone. Nearly half of undergraduate students change their major at least once in their academic career, and the number 2 reason after low academic performance is not having enough self-knowledge required to succeed. We don't know ourselves enough to make the right choices. And that's why I love what I do, and I appreciate the journey that it took to get me here. So here's my story. I was born in San Francisco to an Irish mother and a Makkawi dad, Allah yarhamhum. I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area, and I didn't always know my path in life. And just like everyone else, I struggled at times to find my way. When I was 14, my family up and moved to California, and suddenly there was a lot going on. New school, new surroundings, new life, and trying to fit in. I mean, talk about an identity crisis. I went from Washington, D.C. to Northern California, and suddenly the embassies and the White House and masjids were all replaced by taco trucks and jet skis. It was different. I was different. My grades were severely affected. My mom was really worried, so she got me to start seeing a counselor at school. I was lost. And this was the first time in my life that someone professionally had helped me find my way. I learned in that experience that in order to learn about ourselves and deal with our issues, we need to explore them and understand the root cause of them and see how our backgrounds and our experiences influence them. And this was the first time that I learned about reflection. So for those of you who don't know, in the learning context, reflection is the integral part of the learning process. It allows us to learn more about ourselves. You see, we need to analyze our past that has brought us to our present, and that will help us determine where we go in our future. The journey makes sense, but we don't often take it. When was the last time that you reflected on your life, your achievements, your goals? Well, if it's been a while, then we're going to start today because this is the first step to finding your purpose. Each one of us has a different story to tell. Even people who grow up in the same neighborhood will have the different set of values and experiences and choices in life, right? This concept of uniqueness is what entrepreneurs, artists, students, all of us, it's what we bring to the table. And ask yourself, what is your unique factor? What do you do different than anyone else? What characteristics do you have that can add value to others? What major to study in college? Well, who would I ask? Baba, of course, right? Ya binti khalas ittafaqna. We already decided you were going to be a doctor. I reminded him that I threw up all over biology class. You know when you had to cut open that frog from the smell of the formaldehyde? So yeah, I got a D in biology, so medical school, that just wasn't going to happen. Then Baba told me, astaghfirullah khalas. Do what makes you happy. Oh. Well, okay then. I mean, I was excited. I like that. This newfound freedom suddenly, right? I have a life choice. But then I realized I had no clue. You see, we have so many decisions to make in life and paths to choose. How do I know what makes me happy? How do any of us know? I remembered how my counselor in high school helped me with reflection, and I went to see a student advisor at George Mason University, and they suggested I do a life map exercise to identify my strengths. Blessed, alhamdulillah, of the times where I really truly felt on top of the world. I was married in early 2000, and in May of 2001, I had Abd Kareem, alhamdulillah, aywa, and I was happy. And after I graduated my bachelor's, I chose a master's program, but this time I chose education because I remembered how I loved learning and helping others, so it just made sense. And in the last class of my master's program, I had little Zaynab. She's right here. Wave, everyone. That's my little Whittle. Okay, so like side note from the speech, I have to say, the coolest thing ever is when you literally give birth to your best friend. Like, yani, alhamdulillah. Yes, and she's going to college next year. I'm gonna miss her. Sorry, okay. So, back to the speech. Isn't she adorable? That guy, I made that, like, come on, okay. So, I was a mom, a student, a wife, and alhamdulillah, I was happy. And welcome Mr. Youssef in 2007. He was awesome. He was such a happy baby. And you can see his Bukhari eyes, you see? They came out, wallah, with this one, mashallah. So my heart was full, my house was full, and I was happy. And those are some of the high points in my life, alhamdulillah. So it seems that other than getting my degrees and coming here to Saudi, my children were absolutely the highlights of my life accomplishments. But it wasn't just about having the kids, it was my role that made me happy. I realized in this part of the exercise that I did that I felt complete when I was juggling 1,000 things. I was organized, everyone was on a schedule, working full-time, school full-time. I was learning, I was helping, and I was growing. And I promise you that knowing yourself and being real with these exercises and who you are is the foundation to your success. So for the final step, I invite you to live with passion, but most importantly, live with purpose. Thank you.